Okay, let's go.
He wants to jump
1,000 cars. Sir, you have 1,000 cars.
I don't think I'd attempt to try this stunt.
Or we owe this horsepower to Uncle Sam.
Too many cars.
Car.
Roses would be.
Like I put my beer belly on it.
If you can't immediately tell somebody how many cars you have,
you'll really give those uppity yuppies something to think about.
Stay on the bar. Don't go off the bar with your Bronco.
1980 Volvo horns, what's right? I want a man's coolant.
and he's like, "Oh, I thought it'd be small. It's for a small car." And I'm like, "Yeah, but it's still an automatic transmission. They're never going to be light."
It's definitely going to have to crash.
Starting off with Brad buying another car.
That's the West. Internet.
Is this a Nigerian oil print?
I also wish you drove a tan Camry.
Anyways,
Anyway,
that's a
horrible,
very
horrible podcast content.
very
Talking about a picture.
inside joke.
It loves to be driven hard.
All right, welcome to Auto Off Topic. What's up, Brad?
Oh, not much, Andrew. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Doing great. You know, I was reminded I've had several vehicles that have had enough mileage to go to the moon. Because
Okay.
I was reminded because they're now talking about this in the news that the Artemis 2 rocket launched. Oops. And they're heading 250,000 miles to the moon in 6 days, which is pretty impressive. So.
Yeah, it's a lot of miles in 6 days. That's really fast.
Yeah. But it's just funny because you can like think of it in that manner. Sometimes you have a super high mileage car. You're like, how many times has this been to the moon?
We haven't had that many cars that have gone that far. Only a few.
Montero was
Mirage.
250.
Which Montero? The silver Montero?
Yep.
Okay. The Mirage.
Yeah, that was up 220, 250. Yep.
No, it was like 245 when it got totaled.
Okay. Almost there. Almost made it.
My Corolla, the 80 Corolla wagon.
Yeah.
That's been there twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that car's got like 615,000 miles in the chassis.
Yeah. It's like 2.5 times.
So, yeah. But other than that, everything else has been pretty low compared to
my Blue WRX was, did I get rid of that before 200? I think I just hit 200K with that car and then I got rid of it.
Naomi's Sonata.
Oh yeah, that had a lot, right?
Yeah.
It was 250, wasn't it?
Like, well, Jordan still drives that car. I think it's at like 280 now.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's on the way back.
Yeah, the return trip. It's taken way more than 6 years though.
Yeah.
6 days, excuse me. Way more than 6 days.
Yeah.
So the car is 2011. So it's what? It's almost an antique.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I haven't had too many of them gone that far. But the cool thing is that we live in a time when cars can go that far.
Yeah.
It used to be once you triggered over 5 digits in your odometer, it went back to 0 again because the cars weren't expected to last that long.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll take it.
Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of the cars with mileage unknown, true mileage unknown is my Volvo I've been working on.
True.
No.
What's the project? We're jumping into project car updates right away?
Might as well. I don't know
Excellent.
what else to get. Because I actually have been working on it. So
miracle of miracles. The weather has broken.
Yeah, and I plan on working on it again this Saturday. So because I made some decent progress on it. And of course I'm gonna have to take a few steps back as usual. So I go over there, I'm looking at it, and there's like some coolant under the front of the car. I'm like, that's kind of weird. I don't know what that's from, but there was 2 coolant bottles there. I was like, maybe one tipped over and it spilt or something.
You also had an issue with a coolant leak from your water pump when you first put it in.
I did, and our friend Jared was over there with me and he helped me push it back into place. We tightened it and sealed it back up, and we had the car running, and there was no leaks. And I was looking at the front of the timing case, all under the engine, the front by the oil pan, like everything. Running my hand under there, nothing. It was completely dry. No dried coolant. I'm looking at the radiator hoses. There's no crusty dried coolant. There's no wet coolant. I'm like, this is really weird. but whatever. So there was a drain pan too that was got pushed back that I had when it was dripping because stuff got stuffed up under there. It had some coolant in it. I was like, all right, I think that's from something else we were draining coolant out of. So I dried it out. I put it back under the front of the engine because it was kind of like it was really far forward. It wasn't under the engine. And it didn't seem to be under like the radiator. It was very strange. So I was like, all right, whatever. Um, so I left it there. I went back to doing what I was doing. I drained the fuel tank using that little electric transfer pump. Got basically all the fuel out of it. So it's got no fuel in it. I got to finish
How
putting the.
bad was the fuel in the tank?
Oh, it smelled like paint thinner, but it was clear. Just smelled like paint thinner.
So not a
Uh,
lot of like sediment or garbage in the tank then.
no,
No,
well,
good.
I pulled it through the filter that was on there, and I had the clear filter before the pump, but it looked clean.
My
So
my guess is not long before we got possession of the car, I think it ran
I think
because the
so.
plates were fairly recent. I
They're like
think everything ran until it overheated and died.
I have the plate sitting in front of me on my desk. June of 23 is that when
Yeah.
it expired.
So my guess is that it ran fairly recently in order
Yeah,
to yeah, so it, it,
and so
it
it
may not be a huge issue.
because I
Unlike my
bought it.
fuel tanks in the Starion of the Ram
Yeah,
50.
because when did I buy it? Was that 24 or 25?
I think it was 24 that we
It was
picked it up. It was
April of
around this
24.
time. It was Easter weekend 24.
Okay, so it was only a year out. It expired, and then so maybe it sat for 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah.
We can assume, and then it sat for most
And I
of
think when we
24, and then
looked,
I worked at the end of 24 and all of 25.
the
Uh,
previous owner had passed away in like
yeah,
21 or 22, right?
something like
The
that.
father of the previous owner. And we know the father was the guy who drove the car.
Yeah,
So my guess is the son inherited the car, drove it until it died, and he's not mechanically inclined, and that's when the sale process started and eventually turned into your car. My main guess is that the father lived in Alaska, father passed away, maybe the son lived down here somewhere, car got shipped down here till it
not sure how it
died,
got
and
here.
then
Yeah,
yeah, that's my working theory of the car.
yeah. Well, I shouldn't say I'm not sure how it got here. I know how it got to Peabody, but I'm not sure how it
Yes,
got
I
from
know how I
there.
got to
Alaska
Arizona.
to Arizona, yeah, because it started in San
Mystery,
Francisco. So,
right?
but
Yeah, so
anyway,
that's let me like, dig my guess even further back is that we know that the original owner of the car was in San Francisco, and my guess is that he retired to Alaska and then
probably.
passed away, and his son lived here in Phoenix, and the car was shipped here when he passed away when he inherited it, drove it till it died, and then didn't know how to fix it and sold it off to the that wheel company who used it for, I guess, wheel sizing. I don't know, but maybe they wanted to build it. Who knows? But
I don't know.
anyway,
Doesn't matter.
regardless,
I've got it
it's
now.
yours now, and it's almost running.
So I got to put a fuel pump on it, or no, sorry, fuel filter. I'm going to replace the fuel filter. I didn't I stopped before doing that on Saturday because I didn't bring my box cutter because the hose was so crummy. I was like, I'll just cut the hose off the factory line instead of trying to pull it off. You don't want to break the factory line. So I was like, let me just stop. I'll come back on Monday and do this. So then I went inside the car, and at that point, our buddy Jared had joined me again. Came over, just kind of helped me look under the dash, looking at all the wires, all the extra wiring. We basically went in there. I didn't repair anything. We just pruned out all of the extra wires that don't belong because you can kind of tell, like, look at the stuff that had wire nuts and vamp clamps, and you're like, that's not factory. Snip, snip, snip. So it went from being like a real anxiety inducing, like, mess of wires to it's pretty empty and it's just the factory wiring there and it doesn't look that bad to fix all. So
It's
not
almost
too
good
bad.
that they messily added things to it because it was easy to take them back out again.
Yeah. Yeah.
The sad thing is that the La Cucaracha horns will never play La Cucaracha again.
No, but I think I figured out why the factory horns don't work is that the ground is not attached to the clock spring or the what do you call that for the horn wheel? Where the round part where it makes contact. Is that's not the clock spring, is that?
On the horn
Horn ring.
contact on a auto. On a modern car, it would be a clock spring, but
Yeah.
does an older
Horn
car
ring?
have a clock spring? Like, I think clock spring has to do with clock spring came into effect when you had like multifunction switches and airbags. I think.
Yeah.
If I
I can't remember. I
maybe
don't know.
maybe I'm wrong. I don't know for a
I'm
fact, but
completely blanking on what that is, but yeah, it's
it's a horn contact.
the
That's
contact ring
yeah,
that spins with
yeah.
the wheel. It's not grounded, and I think I
Maybe it was
see
called
the
a clock spring then. So somebody's gonna yell at us now because we don't know this fact,
yeah.
but
I think
I
I
know
see
it's
the
called clock
wire that
spring in a
was
modern car.
yeah, I think I see the wire that is cut, and I have to put a new spade connector on it. So I think the horns will work pretty easily. Looking at the fuses, I've got the wiring diagrams, which are cool because I found them online because the car's old enough. People have actually PDF them, so that's pretty sweet. It looks like all the wiring is in the right place mostly. Um, I do want to replace the ceramic fuses that sit into those spreadable brass tabs with an actual uh, fuse panel. So that'll be a little bit of a work because some of the fuses, according to the wiring diagrams, are bussed together. So I'll have to do some little jumpers to make them work, but it should be pretty straightforward. It's actually there's a metal plate that is screwed to the heater core box that's right behind it and hangs down, and that's what the fuses were screwed to, and or the fuse panel. So I took it out. It was really easy to take out. It was just two screws, um, and I measured it up, kind of traced it, and you can get a free Onshape account, which is CAD software you can run through your browser. So you can use it on basically any computer, and it's free for
Oh,
personal
that's cool.
use, which is pretty cool. So I drew up, the one that came out of the car has a slight bend to it, which is fine. I can bend sheet metal with my hands. It's not very thick, so I don't have to worry about bends. But I basically drew it up and I sent a newer version to Send Cut Send because the fuse panel is the same width. The new one is the same width as the old one, but the way it would mount is further out. So I just needed a couple little tabs added to this piece. And I don't know, just to exercise and teach myself how to use CAD. And
It's
so,
it's
like,
a simple enough design that's a good way to like start learning programs. 'Cause
you
you used it
know,
for your carburetors too, I think, didn't you?
I did, but I ended up not
Racers.
needing the SU plate. The what do I call it? the thermal brake.
We're doing bad with names of things today. That
Yeah,
seems to be
I'm
the
tired. I'm tired today.
yeah.
But here's the thing, like with shipping, and so that it's going to come pre-cut and pre-cut with holes for a couple riv nuts and powder coated black. With shipping, it's like $32 or,
Yeah.
or around like $40 shipping. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, I could have gone
That's
and
way
bought.
less than your time.
Yeah, well, yeah, I spent a few hours in CAD playing with it, but like, yeah, if I needed to go buy some sheet metal and then cut the sheet metal and like it'd still be about that same price, I guess. But I don't
Yeah, you'd
know.
be probably 25 bucks in raw material. Plus that wouldn't even be powder coated, plus another 7 bucks in paint. So
Oh,
good job.
even black paint now I think is $12. It's
I actually
expensive.
bought rattle cans today there at Home Depot here anyway. It was 13 something for 2 cans.
Yeah. Well, I like the VHT epoxy paint for stuff like that, but just like probably like $15 now.
It's
But
funny
anyway,
we record now using video, so I was doing a little fancy pants
yeah.
guy like emotion, but remembering that this is not a video podcast, it's an audio podcast, so
No,
nobody saw that.
we don't pay for the extra for video.
Right.
Maybe someday we will. That's for the fake Patreon subscribers
We
that
also
don't
don't
exist.
admit that video podcasts are a thing because we don't like them. So
No, because why do you want to watch the two of us talk? You can just listen to
I
us while
don't
you do
want to.
something else.
Yeah.
I don't want to. Yeah, I want to watch us right now.
I don't even want to look at you right now. Video off.
So yeah, that's a good little exercise. I'm gonna work on that Saturday. Start switching over the wires. Hopefully that piece lines up the way I intended it to. Should be simple enough. It's just a pretty straightforward piece of metal. Um, so then I was like, all right, I'm not gonna do the because I had gone over there with the intention of like I'm actually gonna switch the wires, but I realized that I couldn't bolt the fuse panel in. I was like, oh, I don't want to mess with this right now. I'm gonna wait. I'll come back when I can actually mount the fuse panel in place. So then I looked in the drain pan under the hood or under the car and had coolant in it. I was like, okay, so something's
Oh
leaking.
man, I forgot this whole story started with the leaking coolant. I already in my brain, we've already gotten past this and it's fixed.
Yeah.
Everything's fine. We went into
No,
wiring.
we're back to
All
it
right, back to the coolant. Yeah.
because I actually found coolant leaking in the drain pan. I'm like, all right, well, something's leaking. This is really weird. So I'm like looking all over. There's only a few coolant spots in the front of the engine. I'm looking everywhere for coolant. Looking at where it was leaking before on the water pump, nothing. Looking at all the hoses, nothing. Squeezing the hoses, the top hose of my hand to try to like squeeze coolant out somewhere, nothing. And then I'm looking at the front of the radiator and like in sporadic spots on the fins, and then at the bottom, there's wet coolant in the fins, like but not where it would roll down from the top, like kind of in the middle, and then at the bottom. I'm like, all
This
right.
is not good.
I'm like, I guess the core has holes in it somehow. So I dried it. I'll go double check on it, see if it leaked again. We're gonna throw a pressure tester on it. But in the meantime, I was pretty annoyed. I took some pictures of it and video of it, and I looked up because I bought it the radiator. It's an aluminum version through VP Auto Parts, and I actually bought it about a year ago to the day. So I sent them an email and I said, "Hey, this thing I got is leaking, and here's video and pictures of it. Just like, is there any warranty on these?" Like, and then they responded back a few hours later, like, yeah, we're really sorry about that. That's the first time we've seen that with those. We're gonna send you a new one." I'm like, all right, cool. So
Hey, customer service in 2026 is rare and hard to find, so we'll take it.
so I just want to I'm paranoid that it's not the radiator, it's something else, and I look like a jerk. But we're gonna pressure test it before I take the radiator out and just see if coolant comes out of there. And if it is, I'll send it back to them. Or if it leaks from somewhere else, I'll just send the radiator back to them um, without installing it. But it's weird. It's a weird leak. I've never seen a leak like that, other than when like the core fails on a radiator. So
On an old radiator, it's not as weird, but it's weird to see it on a brand new one.
yeah, it's only been run like 2 or 3 times. So yeah, that's pretty much where I stand with that. Once I hook up the fuel filter and now replace the radiator, I'm gonna work on fixing the wiring. Um, Car's getting there. It's getting really close to being able to drive around. So um, I'll have to
Which is
get
good
some.
because spring is also getting here for you. It's getting really
Yeah,
close to car driving season. I just saw a post from your local Marblehead Cruise In show that it's coming back. So that's your goal still, right?
I think they said May 12th is their first one. So
Yeah, something like that.
yep. So
Sweet.
that's yeah. So that's where I stand. I've actually done some work to it. I'm going to do some more work to it
Excellent. I'm
this
very
weekend.
curious how the pressure test goes. I'm genuinely curious to see how that
I'm hoping.
where it's leaking out of. At least it's
I'm
one on
hoping.
the way already, so it's not a big deal, right?
Yeah. I'm. Well, I actually got it today. I'm hoping it's obvious. It starts weeping out of the radiator. Um, because that's the only place there's coolant. Or like, I mean, I used nice hose clamps. I used nice hoses. I don't know what it's coming from, other than the radiator where I can see. So, and also I want to see if it's wet because I dried it as best I could the last time I
Sure.
left it, and it's been a few days. So, and it's not like we left. It's been cold, but it had coolant in it. It did not. I did not put any water in this engine. It has
Right.
50/50 premix coolant in it, so it should not have frozen.
It didn't freeze and break. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, almost there. One more
Yep.
step. And it also sounds like you might not have to pull a tank out of the car, so that's good too.
I don't think I'm going to. No, I think I'm
Yeah.
gonna put some
If
fresh
if
gas
all
in
the
there. It'll
fuel
be fine.
came out looking clean with no sediment in it, I wouldn't even stress too much about it at all. If you saw a
Yeah.
bunch of sediment in it, it'd be a whole different story, but I
And
wouldn't worry about it.
it's I mean, maybe there's a little bit left in there, but it was like you could hear it like gurgling, trying to suck out more fuel, but there wasn't much coming out. So
Yeah. Good. Yeah, a little bit of old fuel is not gonna hurt anything at the end of the day.
no, once you mix it up
It'll
with
mix in. Yeah.
5 gallons
Fresh
of fresh
stuff.
stuff, it'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've been working on stuff here too. I think I talked about Roberto's Lancer last week with the deal with the crank sensor.
Yeah.
Um, that was all good for about 2 days, and then it started misfiring again. Which, if you rewind, I don't know if I talked about it on here or not. It had developed a misfire, I don't know, a month or so ago, and it was a P0204, I think is cylinder number 4 misfire. Whatever the number before the 4 is the misfire, and the number 4 is the cylinder it's on.
Hmm.
So PO304 maybe, whatever. Um, and I went to change the spark plugs, and spark plug number 1 and number 2 wouldn't budge. So I was like, oof, I don't want to deal with this right now. Went to number 4, and it came out. And at the time, I didn't notice this, but I think the wrong plugs are in the car.
Oh.
So there's only like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 different thread pitch for spark plugs. They're fairly universal as far as whether they'll fit or not, as far as the thread itself goes. But when I pulled out number 4 like a month ago, the electrode was missing off the end. And I thought that was weird. And I was just like, whatever, I'll put the new one in. The misfire went away and called it a day. What I didn't notice when I took it out, probably because it didn't seem as different because the electrode is missing, the plugs are way too long compared to the ones that belong there. Like double the length of threads, which is not an insignificant amount. So I noticed that when I changed number 3 yesterday to help get rid of this misfire code. So my thought was, well, maybe because there was also an issue with some pinging when we first got the car, that maybe the reason the electrode was missing was maybe there was some actual physical interference between the end of the spark plug and the piston on the car. It beat up the end of that electrode enough, and thankfully it's softer metal than the piston that it just broke off eventually. So anyway, I changed number 3, and then I got to number 2, which was fighting me. But after a lot of left, right, right, left, right, left, and copious amounts of deep creep in the cylinder head, I managed to get the number 2 cylinder spark plug out. Looking at it, the part that would be too long, the part that sticks out into the combustion chamber, is a completely different color than the rest of the
Mm.
spark plug. So my guess is because of the way metal works and heat works and combustion chambers work, that a lot of the reason the plugs won't come out. Initially, I thought they were going to be cross-threaded, but it's probably something to do with the fact that they're probably coated in carbon and it's binding up in the threads trying to get them out. That's one thought. Could be a heat issue and changed, the amount of spark plug sticking out the bottom, and the heat on that was not able to dissipate in the cylinder head, and maybe it made the metal expand, or who knows. But he has a misfire in cylinder 1 now, which is the only plug I have not changed, and I cannot get that one out. So I turn it to the left, it moves a little bit, and then it gets really tight, and then stops. And I turn it to the right, and it moves a little bit, and then it gets really tight, and then it stops. And it's almost making like a chirping sound, which is never good when you're working with spark plugs and cylinder heads, because you talk about a steel spark plug and an aluminum head. And I'm trying to be like ever so careful that I don't blow up the cylinder head, take the threads right out of it. So I keep stopping, spraying more deep creep in, trying a little more, stopping, spraying some more deep creep, trying to be as patient as I can. But even with doing that process, when I eventually took out the spark plug socket, I couldn't touch it. The amount of heat generated from trying to release this spark plug from the cylinder head is intense. So it's scaring me because I don't want to down the car, but also it has to be done because all of the misfire codes are gone except for cylinder 1, which is a spark plug that I cannot get out of the car. So I stopped it where I had to yesterday, and I was like, you know what? I feel like I've gotten to a point where if I try much more of this right now, we're gonna have issues. So I sprayed some more deep creep down in the spark plug hole and said, deal with the misfire for a day, take it to work tomorrow because I don't want to die tonight and be stuck until the weekend. This was on Wednesday night. He made it to him from work today. He's gonna try again tomorrow, and then maybe we'll tackle it again this weekend because I am incredibly nervous about it, and I'm very afraid I'm going to strip the threads right out of the cylinder head.
You travel the engine's hot.
Oh, this we've tried both ways, cold and hot. So done both things. That's what I had him after I changed the other plugs. I had him drive around the block a few times to get the thing up to temperature, and it did not actually help that much. So we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a exercise in patience and not just trying to slam it out because I think the more impatient I get and the harder I work at it, the quicker I'm going to ruin it. So I just need to try to get it out a little bit at a time, slowly at a time, and make it work. So we'll see what happens. But
Hmm.
one step at a time with this car. It's very frustrating. The whole reason we purchased this particular car was because I was like, oh, it's a 2004 or 2005 Lancer. Like, it's a very simple 2-liter single overhead cam. Like, I know Mitsubishi things inside and out. Everything shouldn't be a problem. And every little thing I spot us along the way. So it's just that whole trying to buy a cheap car, right? Sometimes you get a good one. Sometimes you get one that's been treated like a cheap car for too long. So I should have run away when I saw the 305 third gen in the guy's yard. Probably was a good indication that he's not a good mechanic. But anyway,
Good.
so that's it's getting there. I'm losing patience, but I keep stepping away from it so that I can rebuild my patience back up and try again. So we'll see what happens next.
Wait. We can't breeze by. You mean like a small block Chevy and a third gen Eclipse?
No, a third gen Camaro.
Oh,
Yeah, no, that would have been a hero status. A small block Chevy and a third gen Eclipse.
okay.
No, it was like a formerly red like 85 Z28.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the car of all the top mechanics.
That's where my brain goes. You say third gen. It's third gen
Yeah,
Eclipse.
100%.
Third
100%.
gen
But
Camaro.
I figured saying 305 third gen. That was our quick Craig don't tell me of the day. Third
Yeah.
gen 305. Yeah.
Yeah.
Failed. Anyway, so that car is frustrating me, but we're getting somewhere. So hopefully we can get further. And maybe we'll get it working, get it right, and then maybe we'll move on to a different car. We'll see what happens. So anyway, so that's the story with that. I haven't done much else project car wise. I did. I have the fuel tank for the Starion. I think I said I was try to have it in before this episode, but I don't. It's all cleaned inside and out. I'm actually after we record tonight. I'm going outside to paint that. I bought some paint earlier today. Um, I bought some primer that go right over some of the rust on the exterior because it's been sitting outside in bare metal now, so it's got some rust on it, and I want to prime over that. And then I have some of the leftover paint from Naomi's engine bay for her Mustang. That nice chassis black from whatever brand that is now. God, names and
Eastwood.
brands today. I'm off. Nope. POR
You are. That's
15
right.
aerosol can. Yep.
Yeah.
And then I have aerosol rubberized undercoating for the bottom of it where it hangs down from the car because that's what I had factory. So it'll just look factory in the car.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the project tonight is at least get primer on it and maybe the black on the top section.
Mm-hmm.
My Ram 50 pickup truck almost left me stranded this weekend.
Uh-oh.
I think that I ran out of luck with the fuel pump in that. So if you remember, I put that red Edelbrock pump on and
Yeah.
one died and left me stranded.
Yep.
And I returned it and got a warranty of a new one. And everybody said those pumps are garbage and that one's going to die eventually too. So I bought
Yep.
another generic non Edelbrock low um, low PSI fuel pump. Actually, the same
Mm-hmm.
one that you used as a transfer pump for your car. I was told those
Yep.
are pretty good. So I bought one of those and it was in the truck. So if I had broken down, at least I would have been able to change it on the side of the road and keep going, I think. But I went to the Prescott Rally this weekend. Might as well combine this with events.
Mm-hmm.
So the Prescott Forest Rally this year moved from October to March. So it
Mm-hmm.
feels like I just went, but I did just go in October. but they moved it to March for this year, so it was this past weekend, and I was camping with some friends on the top of Mingus Mountain.
Okay.
For anybody who's not been here, Mingus Mountain is Route 89A near Jerome, the route we went through when we
Oh,
took
okay.
pictures of the cars that one time. That really fun, twisty mountain road.
Yeah.
That's Mingus Mountain Road, basically.
Okay.
So at the very peak of that, there's a campground.
Oh,
It's not
neat.
there's a paid camping area that's not technically open yet, or maybe it is now because it's April, but it was still March then. But there's dispersed camping that is open year round if you want to camp in the snow in the middle of the winter in Mangus Mountain. But so we
Mhm.
stayed up there, and I went up Thursday night, which is why I recorded early last week because I was leaving on Thursday. I went up Thursday night. We all met for dinner in Cottonwood, and then when I was driving from Cottonwood back to camp, I was having trouble with the thing like sputtering.
Yeah.
And I realized that I was foot to the floor. Like I was, third gear,
Mm.
pedal all the way on the ground, couldn't go any further. I chalked it up to elevation because it's a carbureted car. There's a huge elevation change. I live at about 1,000 feet above sea level. The
Mhm.
peak of Mingus Mountain is 7,000 feet.
Hmm.
So that's a big elevation change for a carbureted vehicle. So I chalked it up to elevation. I was like, well, maybe it was just elevation. Hopefully. It had happened a couple of times in the way. Actually, even before that, it happened a couple of times on the highway on the way up. And then a couple times then. I was like, oh, maybe. But then I also was thinking about it. I've driven the vehicle up to about 5,000 feet 3 or 4 times already without issue. So I was like,
Mhm.
yeah, maybe it's just that little extra. Who knows? Even though where it happened the first time on Thursday was lower than I had been where I driven it before. So who knows? I convinced myself I didn't need to change the fuel pump on at camp, and I would just drive the thing home, and everything would be fine. I'm going from 7,000 feet to 1,000 feet. It's all downhill anyway, right?
Mhm.
I just roll the whole way home.
Sure can.
Um, Definitely can't. Turns out. So the part that I could roll, I was fine. Once I got back to flatland, anybody familiar with Arizona geography, on Route 17, excuse me, on the 17 South, you get to a place called Sunset Point. It's kind of like a big overlook and a big rest area,
Mhm.
and it's pretty far down in elevation. It's probably back around 2,500 feet or so. There's not much more elevation lost between there and home here in Phoenix. It started sputtering again. Excuse me. It started sputtering to the point that I couldn't maintain 70 miles an hour. And I had my foot to the floor and I was losing speed and it was sputtering. If I lifted my foot off the floor a little bit, it would stop sputtering,
Hmm.
but then I would lose more speed. And then
Mm-mm.
eventually I was doing 65, and then I was doing 60, and then I was doing 55, and then I
Mm.
was doing 50. And by the time I hit 45 in the right lane on a 75-mile-an-hour road, I was like, I should
45.
probably, yeah, 45. I should probably get off the highway and not be a backmarker. Plus, I don't want to die. I don't. I don't want to die. I don't want the car to die either on the actual interstate because I don't want to be crawling around under the car in the breakdown lane with my legs hanging out the side and just it's a dangerous situation.
But at that point,
Also,
you'd made it to like the grid area of Phoenix, right?
I was just at the very edge. So if you know
Take
anybody who knows the Phoenix area, I was in a city called Anthem.
you
Actually,
take
do you
all
remember
surface roads.
when you were here during the Prescott Rally 2 years ago when I was
Yeah.
driving the Colt and it died on the way up?
Oh,
I exited the same exit that I
there you
exited
go.
in the Colt. So the Colt died in Anthem on the way to the rally. The truck died in Anthem on the way home from the rally. So I got off on Anthem at the exit Anthem. Like I said, anybody familiar with Phoenix knows Anthem. It's where the outlets are. There's malls there. There's shopping there. It used to be the very outskirts, but now it's kind of in a little bit into the city. But anyway, it's I'm able to drive surface roads between Anthem and my house. Taking the highway from Anthem to my house is probably about 15 minutes. Taking surface roads from Anthem to my house is probably about 30 to 35 minutes. So It's not far, but it's just kind of annoying to get there. But I was able to drive home. I gingerly drove it on those surface roads, never giving it full throttle because I don't want to risk blowing it up. If I just kept it at partial throttle the whole time, I was able to drive the car just fine. It didn't seem like there were any problems at all. When I was within maybe 2 or 3 miles of the house, I was like, all right, let's see what's happening here. And I downshifted into third and I flat footed to the floor. And once I got to about where I would need to shift in third, it started sputtering. Put it in fourth, flat foot to the floor. It was sputtering. Put it in fifth, sputtering. So my guess is fuel pump. It's just not maintaining enough volume to feed the vehicle what it needs for full acceleration. I'm assuming. I don't know. That's my first guess. I don't know what else it could be. It's a very simple system. It's just a carburetor. I guess technically it could be a plugged fuel filter, but I highly doubt it based on the fact that there's maybe 3,000 miles in that fuel filter and that tank was spotless. So it would need to have a serious ingestion of grossness, unless, again, the fuel um, pump is coming apart and pieces are inside of it, maybe, but I'm not 100% sure. So I think because I know those fuel pumps are bad, I'm just going to swap in the other one anyway and see if it fixes the problem. And if it does, great. If not, I'll figure out the next step. But I don't know that that's going to be powered by that engine for another couple of years. So there's a couple of options that we're looking at doing a swap in that car. That's down the road. So we'll see what happens. One of them is fairly straightforward. One of them is less straightforward, but very cool. So did you know? I might as well say it. Did you know there's a company that makes an adapter plate to run against a Mitsubishi bell housing, a VW 19 TDI?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And there just so happens to be a VW 19 TDI sitting in the backyard of my friend's house. So this is a potential conversation that we just started having. So I'm not sure if we're gonna make that work or not. But that would make that vehicle very efficient, and it would also make it very capable of climbing up and over Megas Mountain. So the prospect of swapping something to a diesel when diesel is $6.50, maybe not so much.
No.
But if it's double the fuel economy, maybe it's worth it.
Maybe.
So we'll see what happens. A little more research needs to be done, but I joked about it at first, and I was like, "That's gotta be super expensive. I don't want to even look at that." And then the adapter is like 143 euros. And I was like, "Oh, okay, it's not a lot of money." Oh, there's also an engine already available. Uh-oh. Now we're thinking. So the options are Starion turbo or VW 19 turbo. So both of which seem to be about the same amount of work, probably. So anyway, that's what's on that truck. I'm gonna put the fuel pump in it. Still enjoy it as is for now. I don't want to make a project out of it until other projects are done. So that's the rule. No big projects until other projects are finished. But there's some planning and some thoughts in the background. So what else? I think that's it. I haven't worked on anything else. We recorded on Tuesday. I left on Thursday, came back Sunday. I've just been working this week, so I haven't really done too much because I spent all weekend up at the rally. Rally, as always, great time.
Yeah, how's the rally?
Amazing. Really good time. I don't know why the Prescott rally doesn't get the same amount of entrants that other rallies in the ARA series do. It's one of the lowest attended rallies. I don't know if it's location or what. It seems to be plenty of miles. I think it's 250 stage miles, which is pretty good.
That's pretty good.
It's Friday, Saturday. They did a special stage, a spectator special stage downtown, which is kind of cool. That's the first time they've done that. The only issue with that was that they were running late through no fault of their own. In the city of, yep, It's one of the cities in Prescott Valley. I forget which one it is. It's actually where your father-in-law lives, but I can't think of the name of the city.
I'm
Anyway,
forgetting that too.
yeah, terrible with names tonight.
Yeah, I
Horrible
know,
people.
right?
There was a massive car crash that
Ah,
was non-rally related, but it shut down right in the middle of the transit stage. So it added like an hour and a half to the transit, which added time, obviously, to the event. And it made so that the spectator special stage was run after dark and there were no lights.
oh,
So all the spectators could really see was the
rally car
car's
lights.
lights ripping around the course. Um,
Also
it
kind of
was
cool.
basically a really high speed rallycross. So it was pretty cool. But it would have been cooler if you could see the cars. So
Yeah.
um, again, no fault of their own. That was just a wild circumstance that happened. That no control of the rally, no fault of the rally, nothing to do with the rally. Just a really bad car crash in the middle of town, unrelated to the rally. So thankfully unrelated to the rally. But that was the cool thing about that event was the spectator stage. That was the new thing. Stage roads are great as always. It's basically like the surface of the Prescott Rally. I mean, you've been there, you probably remember. It's a little bit dustier than like the New England Forest Rally,
Hmm.
but the roads remind me a lot of the road conditions in New England Forest. If you just took out all the trees,
Ah,
it's kind of what it feels like to me driving on the roads. Some good amount of big hidden rocks, but also if you avoid the big hidden rocks, it's fairly smooth as off-road driving goes. Um, good good roads for the rally. The attrition rate was probably about normal for a rally. I'd say. I think they started less than 30 cars, but they finished somewhere around 20. So everybody had a good time, and it was cool. It was also cool to see um, Jamie Beliveau, who used to rallycross with back in the day. He was out here doing co-driving for one of the drivers out here. So chatted with him for a little bit. Haven't seen him in probably I don't know what 15 years. So it was neat chatting with somebody from New England. The New England rally scene here in Prescott at the Prescott Rally. So I recommend signing up to volunteer next year if you're in the area. They treat the volunteers very well. The rally staff is awesome. They're all fairly young and fairly energetic and fairly into it. I think they have a good history ahead, a good future ahead of them, where they're going to keep continuing to do the event, and hopefully it grows and grows and grows. And I think people need to realize that it's a good event and it's worth coming out here if you're based anywhere within a day's drive. The Southern California competitors, a lot more people do the Ridge Rally. A lot more people do what's the one in Washington, um,
Olympus.
Olympus. A lot more people do Olympus. So it's a good amount of West Coast participants, and I think that they're doing themselves a disservice by not coming out to the Prescott Rally because it's a good time. So
Well, I think it's a regional
um,
versus a national,
it, probably
so a little bit different. But
you can do it as less entrance, but it's a good event. So and it's not terribly expensive, I don't think, to run. I think it's a $1,500 entry, and then the hotels in the area aren't super expensive either. They're all like $100 a night, so it's not a super expensive prospect to come to this event. And maybe it is right now at again $5 a gallon of fuel, but anyway. Um, Also very cool. I met two people who rallied Lancers in American Rally in the 70s and 80s, which I've
that's fun.
rarely ever met people who are into that stuff. Um, so one is a friend of mine's wife. Actually, I did not know that she was into rally. She used to drive an Arrow in Canadian Rally in the early
Hmm.
80s. And another one was this gentleman named Kurt Griggs, Kurt with a C. He ran a rally Colt, all through the late 70s and early 80s. So also really cool. And one of the guys who I was working the stage with, one of our like stage crew, was the former director of motorsports marketing for Mazda.
Hmm.
And he's one of the guys responsible for Spec Miata. He's one of the guys responsible for Mazda getting involved with historic racing. One of his first events was when Japanese cars were the feature mark at the Midi in Road Atlanta, which I was at that event in like 2007. He was one of the guys that put that all together. Super cool talking to him. Um, he's been a race car driver his whole life. One of my favorite racing series that's kind of understudied, unknown about back in the 70s was the BFG Radial Tire Challenge, because it's
Yep.
one of the series that Colts were really strong performers in. And he actually raced in that series in a Pinto.
Yep.
And if you remember when we were at the Daytona 24, there was a purpley blue Pinto in the display of old race cars.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling him, oh, I saw the Pinto from the BFG Radial Tire Series at Daytona 24. I described the car to him. He knew the car, knew the driver, knew the whole thing. Super cool history to stand next to this guy and talk to him about motorsports and the history of motorsports. And he was at Watkins Glen in 1969 for the SCCA Trans Am series. So he watched like Donahue and um yeah, all my names are escaping me again right now because I'm terrible with names, but
Yeah.
the Green Challenger and Sam Posey in the Challenger and
Yep.
the Terralingua Mustang, and he watched the 2 liter cars. So he saw Morton in the Datsun, and he saw all those guys racing those cars back in the day. And again, just picking this guy's brain, hearing his stories was just very, very, very cool. If you get a chance to look him up, his name was Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan. So super cool guy. Way into American motorsports and like a lot of stuff that we enjoy is because of this guy. I'm gonna hang out with him all weekend. So super cool. Let's see what else. That's really it from Prescott.
Yeah.
Um, that's really for project cars. Anyway, the truck did make it home. Obviously, it's sitting in the driveway. I have not looked at it because I was annoyed. I'm working on the Lancer and I'm working on the Starion tank. So trying to do one thing at a time here. But
Nice.
there's a deadline on the Starion, not everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So fingers crossed. This is the week. This weekend, Starion starts and fires with its full fuel system in place.
Okay. I hope it does. I want to see it.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
What else we got, Andrew?
Let's do a topic. We actually have a topic. I did minor I did minor low effort homework. Um but I've got automotive terms that make us cringe in 2026. So
So what I will say about
yeah.
this is that
Yeah.
we used the Discord for
Yep.
crowdsourcing some of these things. So segue advertisement, come join the Discord.
Yeah. All right. I kind of put them in a rough top 10 list. Again, low effort. We're just stealing from the old Letterman show. Not quite. It won't be as funny, I don't think.
Definitely will not be because we don't get paid enough money to make it that funny. And the reason we don't get paid enough money is because we're not that funny.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, Now I just put them in order. I don't know if you agree with this order real quick before
It's fine.
all right, it's fine. All right, let's go. Number 10, bone stock. What other kind of stock is there? What do you think?
It doesn't annoy me. Um, I've probably used it. In fact, I was looking at all of these things. I've probably used
Oh,
all of
definitely.
these terms at some point in my automotive fandom. Um, Probably the reason I have is just because they're already out there and they did not used to bother me probably nearly as much as they do now. And I think it's because we've been so oversaturated with automotive content our whole lives that we've seen things enough that we're annoyed by them.
Right.
So, probably an episode discussion in the Discord. Is that where we had it?
Yes.
Okay. I was
All
going to
right.
try to give somebody credit for what they said, but
They know who they are. that's the treat.
The
You get to
the
listen.
stylist guy gave us bone stock,
Yeah,
which I don't 100% dislike bone stock. It is a weird way to say it because yes, there is no other way of saying something is stock.
yeah. It's just completely stock. I don't know.
Yeah, and what does bone even mean at that point?
I don't know. It's down to the bones. Like it hasn't been changed. I don't even know where it came from. It's just like a colloquialism that just existed.
Yeah,
It-
like I've broken bones,
yeah,
so even my bones aren't stock. They've been rearranged a little bit.
yeah.
My
Um.
banana arm.
All right. Number 9, pocket rocket. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't like that one.
It feels like an old.
That's
I don't know.
it was designed. It was probably first used for obviously cars like GTIs and CRXs, and I feel like Car and Driver in the early '80s probably coined that one. Pocket
Probably.
rocket.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you where it comes from.
I would have a very big pocket if I had a GTI in it though. So
Yeah, exactly.
it's not. I yeah, it's weird. This next one really gets me.
Yeah. What is it?
Original miles, number 8.
Yeah, as opposed to what?
Original miles, as opposed to what? So I initially said, okay, as opposed to what? But then somebody brought up after restoration. But I
Oh.
think
Huh.
if you're resetting to 0 when you restore a car, you're doing it wrong because it's not a brand new car. That chassis still has X amount of quote unquote original miles on it.
Yeah.
So you can never go back to 0. So I think that original miles needs to go away and it just needs to be miles. This car has 80,000 miles,
Yeah.
period. You can't erase that. And if you do erase it, if you do change it and you restore the car and you say, oh, it has 10 miles, then you have to say that needs to be the qualifier where it has to be this car has 10,000 miles since restoration.
Yeah.
That's fine. 80,000 miles, 10,000 since restoration, or
Okay.
something along those lines.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
All right.
Original miles.
Number 7, cream puff. I guess this is like I always heard it described like it's a super nice car, but is that because like cream puffs are delicate or they're delicious? I don't I don't know why we call it that.
Yeah, probably because cream puffs are very delicate. Does so it should be something like this is a fresh cream puff because if you have a half-eaten cream puff,
Yeah.
you could have a very rusty car. My Starion is a half-eaten cream puff,
Yeah.
the rusty one.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
half missing, and it's still very delicate, so it still works.
Yeah. I don't know.
Cream puff. Yeah, it's a
It's like a
strange
used
pair of
car
as far as the cream
salesman.
puff. That's where a lot of this probably came from. Salesman slaps roof. You could eat so many cream puffs in here.
Yeah.
Cream puff. Um, I do like your note on here. They are delicious.
Yeah. They are. I was just thinking
And
I
so are
haven't had
cream
one in
puff
a while.
cars.
Yeah.
So are cream puff cars. They are delicious.
Yeah. You ever gone to a beard papa's? They're good cream puffs.
Well, unfortunately, that seems like something that has wheat in it.
Maybe. I don't know how they're made actually. If they just take cream and you dump it in the fryer like it's fried ice cream, but I think you still have to put something around it.
The fryer part is the
But
problem for me.
yeah.
So stupid gluten issues. All right. Number 6, sleeper. I don't hate this one.
I don't really hate it either. It's kind of
If you're building a car to be very fast that looks unassuming, I think sleeper is a perfectly acceptable term.
yeah,
Um, I think that it becomes I think it's overused. I think
probably.
people are like, "Oh, this car is a sleeper," and it's like it's got deep dish wheels and slicks and side pipes. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's not a sleeper. I heard you coming from 6 blocks away. Your car is not a sleeper. This kind of goes along with like wolf in sheep's clothing, probably.
Mm,
I don't hate the word sleeper. I think that it fits. Like, don't sleep on it.
Yeah.
It's unassuming. You're gonna sleep on it, and it's gonna beat you. So I don't have a problem with sleeper. I won't even pretend to have a problem with that.
So it's not that the car is sleepy. It's that people are sleeping on the car.
That's where the term comes from. You sleep
Yeah.
on the car because you don't think it's gonna be fast.
Yeah.
It's turned into people use it as the car looks like a sleeper. It looks sleepy, but
Yeah.
that's where it came from. So
Interesting.
these are all personal preferences that were suggested to us, so we may not agree with all of them. So
No, but it's
I
fun.
think sleeper should be number 10. Actually, now that you asked me about the order, I'm
Okay.
now anti it.
All right. All right.
No
Number
sleepers.
5, shitbox. I don't know. That's definitely overused. Like everything cannot be a shitbox.
Every car is a shitbox. That's the
All
problem.
cars are terrible.
Yeah, cars are terrible. Cars, what is the Hoonigan thing? Cars are a pain. Yeah, yeah. All cars are terrible. They're fine, so you have to work on them, and then they're terrible. So I don't like the term because I am team buy a cheap car and enjoy it. Don't buy a cheap car and treat it like a shitbox. Because I like Dutch Colts. I like old cars that sometimes wouldn't have been thought of as a collector car. And a lot of people have called my cars that as a derogatory term. So I'm offended by that term as a derogatory term because I don't personally think that like my blue Colt is a shitbox, but a lot of people would just immediately call it that because oh, it's just a Colt. It's not a coronet. So it's derogatory to me. I don't like it. It's a slur. It's
Yeah.
the S word.
Yeah. I just feel like it's way overused. Everybody's like, oh, I just drove a
I think
shitbox.
all I think all of these terms are overused, and that's why they even wound up on this list.
Yeah.
Because I think if one or two people use these terms, it wouldn't be. But ever since the advent of forums, when people need to use words to describe things, I think is when
Yeah.
all these words started becoming overused. So shitbox, no good.
Nope. All right. Number 4, handles like it's on rails. I don't know. Large trains aren't really known for their handling, but I guess it sticks to the road, grounded to the ground.
Oh, Camry talk, ground to the ground. I don't think. Okay, handles like it's on rails. Trains are not known for their handling, sure, but
They can
trains
derail.
are but trains are going exactly where they need to go. They're going exactly where they're directed to.
Yeah.
So that's where that term comes from. It handles like it's on rails. The car goes exactly where you want the car to go.
All right.
I think I'd be more annoyed with handles like a go-kart
Okay.
because
That's a good one too.
no car handles like a go-kart.
No.
Especially after you've been go-karting all day and you go and get into your car and then you quickly realize that your car you thought handled like a go-kart is understeering into a tree.
Yeah.
So, were you in the car at when we left main
No.
karting that one time?
No.
Okay.
I was in my own car or something, but I remember you
Were you
saying
behind us watching us crash off the side of the road almost?
yeah.
I won't mention names of who was driving, but it was a friend of ours who owned a car that you eventually wound up owning. And we left the go kart track where the go karts are like, I don't know, a half a turn lock to lock
Yeah.
and been driving go karts all day. And he went to the first corner after leaving the go kart track and he turned the steering wheel of his car like he was turning a go kart steering wheel, and the car just did not turn. And we understeered pretty much almost all the way off the road. Somehow, thankfully, at the last second, it caught some traction and turned back in. But turns out cars do not handle like go karts.
Nope.
All right, next one. I really hate this one.
All right. What is it?
Number 3, secretary car, hairdresser car. Personal preference, man. No car is a secretary car or a hairdresser car.
Feels like
especially when this is a term that has been used by quote unquote car guys, like muscle car guys. I'll never drive a 4-cylinder car, blah, about Miatas and other small sports cars. They're all hairdresser cars. But
yeah.
if small, lightweight, fun cars are hairdresser cars, I guess call me a hairdresser because I thoroughly enjoy those cars. And I don't think that I think it's unfair to call cars like that a hairdresser car because the implied thing here is that it's a car for somebody who doesn't care about the dynamics of the car and only cares about it being cute, is my assumption here. But yeah, nope. Hairdresser car has to go. It all goes along with my constant argument of buy the car you want for you, not for anybody else. So if you buy a
Exactly.
car and the first thing somebody says is, "Oh, would you buy a hairdresser car?" You're gonna be mad at that person.
Mm-hmm.
So nope, I'm out.
All right.
Also, I've owned many cars that would be considered hairdresser cars by others. So
Mm-hmm. All right. Number 2, rice rocket or rice burner. I don't like these at all.
at the end of the day, it's just racist.
Yeah. Yeah. But this is definitely, I actually haven't heard it in a long, long time.
Yeah,
This is when,
I feel like that's gone out of flavor.
yeah. Well, it was like, 20 years ago when it was still kind of unusual to be into Japanese stuff.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it was much more common to have your car called this. Um, but
buy
now, yeah.
that grumpy old Mustang or Camaro or Mopar
Or,
driver who
or
didn't
even a dude
understand.
that was your age that would only drive V8s or something.
Yeah, someone who didn't.
Um,
I wasn't saying about age. It's just the person who had the muscle car, the person who had the big truck. Like they didn't have any respect for the Honda or the Mitsubishi or whatever. They called it a
I
rice burner.
know.
This was probably peak when like the first Fast and the Furious movie came out.
Yeah.
So like 2000, 2001. Used to have what was the website Ricer of the Day,
Oh, yeah.
where they would post pictures of terribly modified cars and people would make fun of them, which granted I would go along with because at the time it is it's all about the
They're not
times,
poorly
Andrew.
modified cars, but in poor taste. But yeah, it's definitely gone away as like because it morphed from you know Fast and Furious was kind of a weird joke ish sort of thing, and then became serious, and then the whole
Well, Fast and Furious was never a joke to those who were into it. It was
yeah
always a joke to people like us who were already into the import car scene prior to that, because we were into stuff that was not what you saw in the APC catalog or at the Nopi events or all that stuff that was big at the time. And all of that was what Fast and the Furious pulled from. It pulled from the burgeoning scene, but the mainstream version of that new thing, not from those who had been in the hobby for a long time before that. So,
yeah it's
and I
definitely gone away. 'Cause-
genuinely hate that it's coming back.
Really, I haven't seen it
That
that much.
that style of modified car is coming back.
Really, a revival of the 2000s stuff, like
Yes.
early
Yeah.
2000s,
Yep.
like the year 2000, like 05 was like a very specific look.
Yep. Yeah, like
Hmm.
I said, it's that very hot import nights Snopey style. It's the 25-year cycle, Andrew. We're back. We're
I haven't
nostalgic.
noticed. Must be a Phoenix
Yeah.
thing.
It's more like an internet thing. I haven't seen it as much in person yet, but I've been seeing more and more cars of that era coming back in YouTube builds and Instagram builds and stuff like
Weird.
that. So it's not for me. It'll never be for me. I don't respect it. I never will.
Nope.
So they're all rice burners to me, Andrew.
All right. All right. Number 1, I've got runs like a top or a sewing machine. This one feels like a
Sewing machine, I
real,
get.
yeah.
Sewing machine, I get because sewing machines were the first consumer machines that were reliable. Right? They were very
Yes.
smooth. They worked for hours and hours and hours, and they never failed. Runs like a top, I've never understood because tops spin for about 30 seconds and they fall down catastrophically.
Okay.
My
Yeah.
cars all run like tops. Every one
All
of my
right.
cars runs like a top. He'll get me out of the driveway and then not questionably to my destination. That's running like a top. But a sewing machine I get because again the sewing machine was a very efficient machine. Um, I don't use it because that term is very outdated. I think again, like all these terms,
Yeah.
they're probably just overused. And most people don't have a sewing machine anymore because you can get a new shirt on Amazon the next day for $6.99. So you don't fix your old ones. And I certainly don't make my own shirts from scratch. So I don't think about the sewing machine one. I do wish I was proficient with sewing machine use because I'd love to do make car interiors.
Yeah.
Not. So yeah, I don't hate sewing machine. Runs like a top. I never understood. Oh, what's wrong with the word perfect? How's it run? Perfect.
Yeah.
How does it run?
Runs
Like a
great.
shitbox.
Oh, I can
It runs
balance a
good,
dime on the
or does it
engine.
run good?
I don't know.
Yeah. Or I could stack wine glasses on my hood.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I don't hate that one either. Runs like a top, I don't understand. I would say my most hated term is not even on this list.
okay, what's your cringiest term?
Okay, I have three really cringy terms.
Okay.
Um, one is spec.
Oh, okay.
I
It's a
hate
nice
spec.
spec. It's a nice
It's that
spec.
you ordered a nice spec. No, you didn't.
Uh,
Spec is rad. It just
uh,
makes you sound like it's very pretentious. I just don't like it.
I checked the boxes.
Um, yeah, it checks all the box. Checks all the boxes. That's another one. Oh, it checks
Oh,
all the
okay.
boxes. I don't like it. Checks all the boxes. Doesn't check all the boxes. Nothing checks all the boxes. There's always a box or two that you want to add. A nice spec. I don't like. A spec also is a factory built car. There's no
Yeah.
personality in that car. Like, oh, you got this. Like your Volkswagen is the perfect spec, Andrew, because it's Great Falls green with the Marrakesh interior. It's a great spec.
Fully
Now,
optioned.
listen, it is a great spec, but I would never say that because I don't like the word. I would
Yeah.
say it's optioned well.
Yeah.
It's exactly how I would have chosen that car. It's very cool. It's a nice spec. Just again, it sounds very, very douchey. Reimagined, hate it,
Oh, okay.
hate it. That's probably my number one most hated term.
Yeah.
Reimagined.
That's a good one.
It's a resto mod. It's a restored car that you modified a little bit. I don't hate resto mod because that it
No.
describes exactly what you've done. You've restored it and you've modified it. You have resto modded the car. Reimagined just means that you're trying to sell it for too much money when you're done resto modding it. Is kind of how it sounds. Um, and those are the kinds of cars that you buy 100,000 mile example of, and you resto mod it, and now it's a it's got 100 miles on it. No, it's got 100,000 and 100 miles on it.
Yeah.
Original. So I genuinely hate that one. And I had a third one in my head just now, and it went away. So I'll give you a minute, and I'll probably think of it. But those are my two most hated at the moment are spec and reimagined. Really hate them. Not good. Oh, nope, it's gone again. Forget it. It'll pop out of nowhere eventually. If you have more, please send them to us in our comment on an Instagram story or send them along. We'll add some viewer ones next week. Um, Listener, not viewer. We're not viewers. Only we can view. There's no viewing.
Nope.
Yeah, spec. Bespoke. I also hate.
Bespoke. All right. Yeah.
It's bespoke.
Honorable
No,
mention.
don't like that one. Um, all of these are words that I hear at every Cars and Coffee I go to, and I just want to
Okay.
punch that person in the face. So,
Yeah. It's just like, I don't know.
honorable mention as well was mentioned. Honorable mention as well was mentioned in the Discord. P car and F car.
Okay.
Nope, do not like it. Also sounds douchey. We know you're trying to say Ferrari. Just say Ferrari. Don't say F car. Oh, you're talking about Fieros again.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Fieros and Pontiacs. Pontiac Fieros. P
Oh,
cars and F cars all in one.
you've got a Fiesta.
Yes. Your F car. Oh.
A
Did you have the
Focus?
RS? Yes.
Yeah. I don't know.
Or just Ford
Yeah,
at
you've
that
got a Ford?
point. Yeah. Got a Pontiac and a Ford. Yeah, I don't like P car and F car. Those are dumb. F car I hear less than P car, probably because I see less F cars than I do P cars. But F your F car. So F you for saying F car. Your car's probably fine.
What if
Especially
it's a
the older
rat
one.
rod?
How do you feel about rat rod?
I don't really mind it. I
Okay.
guess if it's used to describe the right kind of car.
This is 100% the issue with rat rod. Type rat rod into Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, and that's how you get your funniest listings because people use it for the worst stuff.
Yeah.
Some shell of an absolute garbage. What number was shitbox? Number 5. Some shell of an absolute shitbox in the backyard, and somebody's like, "Oh, great rat rod project." No, it's not a rat rod project. It's a project. You can do whatever you want with it. Too many people build what they call rat rods, and they spend too much time intentionally making it ratty.
Yeah.
I feel like the term was fine when it was based on the cars that were built like they would have been built in the late 40s, early 50s.
It's like if you dressed like a punk, but you went to like Hot Topic and bought all stuff brand new instead of like
Sure.
going to the thrift shop and buying all your stuff and like making your own jean jacket with patches.
There's way too many posers in rat rods.
Yeah.
I think is the issue. A true rat rod is a car that was built from parts you had lying around with an emphasis on straight line performance, not on looks. Um, the looks came along with it because it looked cool because you weren't trying,
Yeah.
which I
It's
guess
like
is the
that.
is the poser thing.
You gotta
And that's
try
the
without
conversation you and
trying.
I have. Yeah, it's the conversation you and I have always had about um, roadkill. I always like the aesthetic of roadkill cars because they just drag these things out of junkyards, make them work, make a run, slap a set of wheels and tires on it, dial in the stance of the car, and have this car. It just looks like it could roll back into the junkyard. And that's to me is a rat rod. But there's too many people like who's that guy in Vegas that does all the rat rods you see on TV? Welder Up, where
Don't know.
he puts like $100,000 rat rod builds. Like that's not a rat rod. That's just a show car that you spent money on making look like a rat rod. So yeah, maybe the word rat rod needs to go away. We should call things ratty.
Yeah.
Maybe we were ahead of the curve by calling my old Starion the ratty flatty.
Yeah. Or
Actually, if you go way back to the early Volkswagen Vortex days, um, if you built a water cooled Volkswagen that way, it was just called rat style.
yeah.
And that was cool at first. And then, much like the hot rod thing, it got overdone and the posers started coming and they would take their perfectly brand new Mark IV and they'd sand the paint off the hood and let the hood rust and then say it was rat styles. But to me, that wasn't rat style. That was poser rat style.
Yeah.
Your in the year 2003 your 2002 Volkswagen hood should not look like it's 50 years old.
Yeah.
That to me was dumb. But rat styles originated with the dudes in the Northeast. Maybe it was the broke status guys. I don't remember. There was one specific guy that had rat styles first, and it's been so goddamn long. I don't remember who it was, but it was a black Mark 1 that was literally a field find that they did a motor swap and put ATS cups on and did the interior over, but left the body and paint ratty. Um, that was the first rat styles build, and I remember. I'm going way back in my brain here now, Andrew. I remember the stickers they all had back in the day. It said rat styles, and it was like a line drawing of a side profile of a toilet over it.
Oh, okay.
So that was the aesthetic back in the day.
Hmm.
I'm sure Jared remembers that. He can tell me the names because he's better at remembering names than I am. But I remember that car specifically. That car might have even been featured in PVW back in the day.
Yeah.
So
Then of course
anyway,
you also have
yes.
Safari. Not
Well,
everything needs to be a rally car.
I reimagined this 911 as a safari car. It's a great spec now.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. I reimagined this P car as a safari car. It is
Yeah.
now a great spec. It's no longer bone stock.
No thank you. No thank you. Anything else? Any other cringe words?
I could probably keep the conversation going all night, Andrew, but I'm going to stop it right here before I get even more angry.
All right.
So
Let's do a
that's what it
little
is.
some people
Build a
probably
car
find
to your
cringy.
style. That's what
Yeah.
you'll say. Mr. Rat stuff.
Uh, yeah, some people probably find it cringy. Little NASCAR talk. I mean, Martinsville was
Yeah,
kind of a boring-ish
very,
race.
very little. I heard an interesting interview about this with actually Richard Petty after the event
Yeah,
happened.
yeah,
He was doing like a podcast, and somebody sent a question in that said, we should just get rid of Martinsville. And he brought up a point which I kind of agree with, that A, some people enjoy that style of racing, but B, Martinsville is one of the only tracks that's been on the schedule since the beginning of NASCAR.
okay,
NASCAR is deeply steeped in tradition, and as much as we do like to see evolution and improvement of things, some tradition needs to stay, and Martinsville, I think, is one of those that just needs to stay.
yeah,
Um, it wasn't a bad race; it just wasn't a good race,
no, and it was Hamlin's to lose, and he lost it.
and he did, yeah. But he won last week anyway, so it doesn't matter. 2
Yeah,
weeks ago, so it doesn't matter.
but he lost to old beige curtains. But
Yeah, yeah, it was definitely there was a weird, gutsy pit call from Elliott's crew, and it paid off, and Elliott won the race.
yeah,
So, and I'm still mad at Bubba this week because I don't know what he was doing.
I don't either. It was a weird move,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I think we saw a little bit of 2019 Bubba right there, where he let his anger get the better of him, which he used to do a lot, and he's gotten better at. And I think he was angry at Hocevar for squeezing them in the two corners previous. And I think he did intend to give him a good little bump to remind him that he's there and he's upset. And I think he misjudged the entry speed of that bump, and he just ran him over. And he took out like 7 or 8 cars, including himself.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I have not worn my Bubba hat all week because I cannot go out in public wearing a Bubba hat this week because I'm very mad at Mr. Wallace. So hopefully he can figure that out, because that one particular move took him from third place in the standings to 12th.
Yeah.
So good job, sir. You played yourself. But Reddick also still top 10,
Yeah.
even though his history at Martinsville not good.
No.
So, but listen, just to keep the naysayers down, we need to have a couple of Chevys and Fords win so that we talk about, obviously Reddick's getting an unfair advantage this year because of the lawsuit,
Yeah.
according to the internet. All false, but not happening. Anyway, that's the NASCAR for the day. I think that's an episode.
That sounds like an episode to me. All right, cool. Yeah. Join us in the Discord. You can give us some more episode ideas. Maybe I'll spend more than 5 minutes writing up an episode idea in the future. Try
Well,
to
yeah.
get to it.
We
But
also spent most of the episode talking about project cars and rally cars, so we didn't have much time left to talk about it.
well, that's the thing. The time I'm not spending working on the episode, hopefully I'm spending working on project cars that we talk about. But I would like to do some more topics because it is fun. So, um, yeah, come join us on the Discord. Follow us on Auto Off Topic. We're on Instagram. I'm Racing Anger on Instagram. We've got Scale Autocast on Instagram. And Brad, where can they find you?
They can find me with Scale Autocast, and they can find me at my personal Instagram of TSISS350.
All right, cool. Keep your cars analog and aim for the roses.